And what I mean by this, guys, is there's a lot of different ways to make it in real estate. Yet, guess what? There's no get rich quick in real estate. Man, I'm on a roll today. If you're just working all the time in the business, do me a favor, carve out some time on the business. I look at the freaking energy that I have this morning. It's awesome. So I had someone reach out to me that's a new agent. They asked the question, great question, by the way, what are the top 3 things that a new agent should do? And I started typing it out, and I was like, you know what, fuck it. I should just do a video on it because there's a lot of people that should probably hear this. First thing is get your skill set down. Meaning sooner or later, you're going to have to figure out what the hell you're doing. So I burn the candle at both ends. We have a program called 12 to Start, and I'm not pitching the program 12 to Start yet. What I realized was on your first 12 transactions, you're going to suck. You're not going to know what you're doing. Lean into it. Make up for it. So what I want you to do is, are you going to be an amateur or professional at this? See, the barrier of entry for real estate is so freaking low that most agents suck, and most agents don't make it. Why? Because they think they can go make, pay $1,000 for a real estate course, spend 40 hours, and all of a sudden they're an agent. Guess what? You're going to have to go get your college degree. Now, not a lot of college degrees have real estate diplomas. I'm talking about a different skill set. For example, Amy Brohammer has a course called Sell 100% of Your Listings. It's $1,000. Here's the thing is she can accelerate your learning curve above and beyond what you could ever imagine. And they're like, well, Hank, I got to make money before I spend money. Do you know how many people go to college, spend $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, hoping that they can go get a $50,000 job after they get out of college? You have an opportunity to spend $1,000 on Amy's course, figure out how she sells 100% of her listings, get all of her stuff for $1,000, go put it on a credit card. Go shovel snow. I mean, if someone came into my house right now and wanted to shovel my driveway, my kids were doing it. Now it's too freaking heavy for them to do it. And if they could beat the plow guy here, I'd pay them. So what am I getting at? Guess what? You're going to have to pay your dues. You're going to have to pay the School of Hard Knocks. So you can do it a couple different ways. You can choose to take 3, 4, 5 years to know your head from the hole in the ground, or what you can do is invest in yourself. Go spend the equivalent of what you would on college on real estate information. Now, there's a lot of people out there that will swindle you. They're snake oil salesmen. I can tell you in our program with 12 to Start, 24 to Live, 36 to Life, if you didn't get what you wanted out of it, we'll give you your money back. Why? Because we don't want your freaking money if you're not going to go and implement it. So skill set, that's the number one thing you need to do as a new agent is get your freaking skills down, which means you probably aren't sleeping, because it's probably going to take you much longer to do a listing agreement than it is me, who's been doing it for years. Get your skill sets down, because the reality is if you don't have your skill sets down, if you're up against someone like me, I'm going to kick your ass. And so the reality is if you want to be a pro, pros practice. Most real estate agents, when they practice, when they go on their first listing appointment, there's thousands of dollars on the line, and that's just stupid. So if you're a new agent, I want you practicing and role playing. I want you going along with top agents and saying, hey, Amy Brohammer or Dawn, can I go and shadow you? I'm not going to say a word. I'm not going to say anything. All I'm going to do is I'm going to sit there and I'm going to be quiet. And I'm not going to ask you any questions. I get to ask you one question at the end of the day. Why? Because so many agents want to take top agents' time and take them out to lunch. Don't take them out to lunch. Go and shadow them and keep your mouth shut. And they will show you a lot. And seriously, keep your mouth shut. Just watch them. Spend a whole day with them. Shadow them. And then you get to ask them one question. There's no magic pill. It's a lot of fucking work to get into real estate. And a lot of people don't make it. So if you're not ready to work, don't jump in this game. And if you think it's easy, it's not. If you think you're going to get now business, you're not. If you think that family's going to all of a sudden work with you, they probably shouldn't work with you because you don't know what you're doing. Second thing, get a coach. Now here you go. Hank's trying to sell his coaching. No, I'm at capacity. I wouldn't want to coach you anyways. Yeah, get a coach, because you know what? Just like relationships, people can see what you're not doing and they can guide you through it quickly. Here's what I can assure you. If you paid me $1,000 a month, you pay me $12,000 over the next year. I guarantee you, you will net more money by paying me $12,000 because I know what the hell I'm doing. Be careful who you align yourself with, because some people have no clue what they're doing. Third thing, know your numbers. Start with a P&L from day one. I sure as hell wish I would have started with a P&L from day one, because you know what? There's many times I kept growing my teams, kept growing my business, yet you know what? Hank wasn't making more money. Hank, everybody else was getting paid except for Hank. That's just stupid. Here's what I'm going to tell you to do. Don't even think about growing a team until you've been at least 5 years in the business. Why? Because you don't have a strong enough foundation. Now you're going to get all sorts of pressure that says, you got to think big, you got to grow your team. No, you don't know what the hell you're doing until you've been in this business for 5 years. The last thing you need to do is bring somebody in your world. So for the next 5 years, what I want you to do is I want you to pay your dues. I want you to get your shit together, get your foundation before you even start thinking about building a business. And they're going to tell you, well, follow the model. There's this red book that if you follow the model and you do it too quickly, you're going to end up broke. Do you know how many agents I've talked to that have tried to follow the model and all that's happened was they've ended up miserable? Now, I think that model works for people that know business, that people are growing a business, which means that you're going to invest a lot of time, sweat, energy, and money. And most of you want to take every freaking dime out of the business that you're doing. Therefore, it's not a business. What you're trying to do is have a job and grow a business, and that just doesn't work. Trust me, I look at how much freaking money I've spent in the last 60 days growing my business. So do me a favor. If you're a brand new agent, don't even think about freaking starting a team. In fact, you're probably better off going on a team for 2 years and paying your dues. And don't start doing buyer's agent math. If you jump on a team, you better let that agent make some money off you, because for the first 12 months, you're a suck on them. And what I mean by that is they could make way more money without bringing you on. So what's going to happen is the first year you'll figure out your head from the hole in the ground, and then you'll start doing buyer's agent math, and you'll start being like, oh, wow, I'm paying my agent all this money. Well, you know what? Be careful before you jump, because there's a lot more to it than what you know. And when you are thinking about jumping, go to like, if Sam was my leader, I'd say to Sam, hey, Sam, I'm thinking about going on my own, yet I know I don't know what I don't know. So how about we do this? We spend the next year and I work my ass off for you and make you a ton of money, and you can help me so that when I go out on my own, I don't fall on my face. And in the meantime, I will help you replace myself, so I'm not going to leave you hanging and basically, spit on you for everything that you've done. Buyer agent math is terrible. And what I mean by this is most buyer agents that are any good, at some point, they're going to realize that they might want to do it on their own. When you leave, don't be a douchebag. And what I mean by that is be open with your team leader and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this on my own. I want to do what's best for my family. Can you maybe help me out with that? And what I mean by this, guys, is there's a lot of different ways to make it in real estate. Yet, guess what? There's no get rich quick in real estate. Build it one relationship at a time. When you mess up, fess up. Do the best that you can. And for your first 12 transactions, guess what? You're going to work your butt off. And then you're going to get to 24 transactions, and we call that the 24 to live stage, where everything takes you longer because you still don't know what you're doing, and you're probably going to be working 20-hour days. You're going to be paying your dues, and you're not going to be knowing if you're coming or going, because when you usually start a business, sometimes you burn the candle at both ends. And then after about 5 years, we can talk 36 to life, where many people are starting to get bored, and they're like, oh my gosh, I got into real estate for freedom and flexibility, and yet I have none of that. That's where 36 to life comes in. See, I saw all these agents, they got into it, and they're burning the candle at both ends, and they got no freaking net life. Their marriage is falling apart. They're not really making any money because they haven't been following the numbers, and they didn't pay last year's taxes. So now this year they're trying to make up for this year's taxes, yet they're making more money. So they just keep getting behind. And guys, it's seriously, like, this is the question that I ask agents when they come to coach with me. How far behind are you with the IRS? Because what we don't do is we don't stress knowing your numbers, because you don't have to do a shit ton of business to make a ton of money. What you need to do is do a great job, work by relationship, and then here's what happens. You get to this point where you're doing 36 transactions. Then you start to have systems in place. You start to raise your average sale price, and then you keep doing 36 transactions, and next thing you know, you're doing 36 transactions working part-time. See, we all know those agents from RE/MAX that are sitting there. They've been there for 20 or 30 years, and they're consistently pumping out, $10, $15 million a year. This is no rip on RE/MAX. This is actually a compliment to RE/MAX, is they produce great agents, meaning they don't just take any Tom, Dick, and Harry that's getting into real estate. RE/MAX selects great agents that are in it for the long run. And now, again, I don't think RE/MAX is the model for me, yet it is a great model, and it's shown us when you help enough people get what they want, and you're consistent, you can do a great business in this. Now, I want you to do this math if you're a new agent. Figure out what your nut to crack is. Figure out how much money you need to make. And then another agent can help you figure out the transactions. And then what I want you to do is I want you to get to that nut to crack. Then I want you to raise your standards, raise your sales price. You don't have to do 90, 100, 150 transactions. That's ego. That's for the awards. And do you know how many times I've been sitting at those conferences and I've seen behind the curtains where this person's up there going, Well, I did 200 transactions and I grew my team in less than 5 years. You know what the reality is? Most people that do that fucking fall on their face. They lose their ass because you know what? Their foundation wasn't there and they're not making any money. Like, it's amazing how many times I talk to people, I ask them a few questions, they don't have a P&L, they don't have their taxes, and they're a freaking shit show. So be careful when you're watching someone on stage, because guess what? Their shit stinks. And their world is probably falling apart, yet getting up on stage stroke their ego just enough where they got to keep going. Because heaven forbid they should wave their flag and say, you know what, this isn't working. And you know what, if you do go and mentor with someone, say, hey, how's your P&L look? You know, what's your net income been over the last 5 years? And if they can't answer you, run. Like, if they can't tell you what their net income is for the last 30 days and they haven't done their P&L, run. Because here's the thing is, a lot of people can make money, they can't keep it. How do you think I know this? That was pretty much me up until about 35. At 35, I said, this is stupid. I've made way too much freaking money to be this broke. And so at 38, I decided for my birthday present, I was going to no longer borrow debt. And guess what? We're getting massive traction now. I decided that I'm going to focus on relationships and I'm going to focus on consistency and I'm going to focus on doing it the right way. And anytime I start to feel destructive abundance, I'm going to fall back. And I'm going to ask myself, what am I choosing significance over sales? Now you might be wondering, significance over sales. Well, Hank, I want to do things that make me feel good. Well, here's the thing is I'm assuming that through your job, your real estate job, you like what you're doing. So rather than going and doing something that you think will lead to business, how about you do something that will lead to business? See, so many times we kid ourselves and you're working 40, 50, 60, 80 hours a week because you know what? You're a spoiled little brat. You're not willing to follow a schedule and do the things that you need to do because you know what? The things you need to do aren't always freaking fun. Oh, so if you're a new agent, put on your seatbelt, you know, put on your big boy pants and go ask some agents like an Allison Crow or get with someone that knows what they're doing and ask questions like, what's been your most profitable year? You know, what's the biggest mistake that you've made financially? You know, what have you wasted your money on? What paid dividends? What didn't pay dividends? That's why we have such an easy return policy with the 36 to life, because I don't want your fucking money if you're not going to implement it. And yes, I say fucking, you know why? Because no one has their thumb over me. See, I don't have any corporate agenda. I don't have any numbers that I'm answering to. I don't have anybody, you know, like there's no hidden agenda to help you grow your team so I can replace my team leaders and I don't need them, because if I help promote you as a team, I can have you do all the recruiting for me and then you can train them and they can leave your team and then they can be a full cap for me. Guys, I get all this. See, and this is why I'm not always liked, because I'm willing to say what most people aren't willing to say. There's a hidden agenda with most people. I can assure you there's no fucking hidden agenda with me, except I want you to have an awesome life, which means I might tell you to go do something different. I might tell you to leave EXP. I might tell you to leave the company that you're at. See, I have no shits in the world or care what you do except what's right for you. I know this can get me in trouble, and it can get me in trouble because I push against the grain. Why do I push against the grain? Because, you know, I paid a lot of stupid tax. I've had a lot of people tell me one thing. Now, here's the thing is a lot of people told me things, and that was their true belief. And I think they truly believed that they were helping me, and so did I. And yet what I realize is there's a lot of truths out there that we don't know. Man, I'm so glad I didn't try to type all this out. I would have been typing forever. Yes, Joey, help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. Do a great job for your clients and then say, hey, you know what, if you want to help me out, go give me a referral. Say, hey, you know what, Hank could have taken advantage of me. Hank could have sold me a house that wasn't right for me, yet Hank talked me out of it. Hank needs to be a realtor, and if he's not, we're not friends. See, Hank did such a great job for my family. If you don't use him, I'm going to trust your judgment. I'm going to trust your intelligence level. And I'm going to trust if I'm going to question if you actually were in relationship, because I can tell you, if you don't use Hank, you're an idiot. How many of you guys would like referrals like that? Well, go knock it out of the park for people. And that's the type of referrals you'll get. And here's the cool thing about that is when you work by relationship, that's the type of referrals that you get. So when people come into working with you, they know that you have standards. This is why I haven't had to open up my coaching schedule, because I get great referrals for new coaching clients. And then those coaching clients know that I have standards, and I will fire their ass if they're not doing what they need to do, or if they're being full of shit. And oh my gosh, seriously, guys, I just want you to be open to that. There's a different way, that it isn't just what's being shoved down your throat, and you don't have to do it my way. And that's the coolest thing, is there's a million different ways to do this. And oh shoot, I think I'm late for a phone call. Look at that. I got all excited, and whoever I'm supposed to be on the phone with at 12 o'clock, I'm sorry. I got a little excited on this. So do me a favor. If you know a new agent that needs to watch this, will you do me a favor and share that with them? Again, guys, I'm not selling anything here. All I'm doing is trying to help people, because you know what? There's a lot of people that are getting bad advice, and it's tearing up families. It's getting people in bad financial positions. And if you aren't paying your taxes, get in front of it. Meaning, if you haven't paid your taxes for 2017 and you're going to file an extension for 2017, and then you're going to go make a bunch of money in 2018 to try to catch up with it, guess what? That's a recipe for disaster. You cannot out-earn stupid. And if you're trying to out-earn stupid, that's a bad strategy. I believe there's actually a better strategy where you can actually make less money and get in a better place in less time than if you just try to outwork the stupid fucking decisions that you're making. Like, more isn't always better. Consistency is. This was fun. I feel better. 16 minutes later, and I feel better. Man, I was having kind of a rough end of January, beginning of February, because I got too far away from what actually got me here. And I could tell you there's going to be some band-aids I'm going to have to rip off yet. Here's what I can tell you. If you're in my world, I'm going to help you get what you want. I can't do the heavy lifting for you. I will help you. I will give you a hand up. I'm not going to give you a handout. Love you guys.